So today's webinar, as I just told you, will start with the Graduate School Application Essential. And this webinar is actually meant to cover just an overview of all the things that you require for your application, including your, SAP, CV, how to contact your professor, how to, get your scholarship and stuff like that. So, of course, there will be detailed webinars on this topic later in the series, but this is meant to be just an overview of this. And particularly our speaker will also try to include a bit of his experience from his own, because of course he is also in US, so he has his own personal experience which he would share. And before I get started, I would like to introduce the speaker. So today's speaker is Mohammad Khizr, and Mohammad Khizr is actually a PhD candidate in chemistry from Florida State University in US. And without taking much time, I would like to hand over the stage to Mohammad Khizr. Stage is yours. Please, Mike.
Assalamu alaikum. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Thank you, guys, Bhai, for the introduction. Thank you, SSGSA, for giving this platform to interact with the students who are willing to apply for grad school. So without further delay, let's start it. And this is organized by the Training and Skill Development Division of the SSGSA. So a bit about me. So as Haris Bhai mentioned, that I'm in my third year in Florida State University pursuing my chemistry. And my journey started back in 2021 when I was doing some research in one of my laboratory in my master's. So from there, I started thinking about applying abroad. I was clear about that I want to apply to the US specifically. So I have applied for various schools, and this is how I'm here. And I'll be sharing, the journey for the grad school. So when you apply for a grad school, what is important is your background. So what is the one thing which comes is your academic achievements. So we talk about your GPA, which is something, the grad school consider your academic awards, honors, and other accomplishments that demonstrate your intellectual capabilities. So one thing which is really important to understand is GPA is not the only factor to consider. I have noticed so many students when apply for the grad school, they are very worried about GPA. So always consider that US applications specifically look holistically. So it's not just your GPA, it's the overall picture that showcase your academic achievement and outside the classroom as well. So, for example, if you're applying for a PhD program, then showcase your research experience, right? So you can talk about your research projects, your publications, conferences, or whatever you have presented in your university or outside the university. Let's talk about the research project. So sometimes we feel like we should have a publication before applying to the grad school, but grad school never demands or talk, oh, they need to have the publications. So it's not important to have the publications, but if you have the publication will definitely enhance your profile. So the most important thing is the learning, how you have learned a particular project in your masters or your research field. So you should understand well about it. It should not about the quantity, like I should have 2 research experiences or 3 research experiences. It's more of like you actually understand the things or not. So make sure learn it, and once you learn it, then you can write it better in your SOP or the programs you're applying for. So what comes after this is the outside the classroom. Like, have you demonstrate any leadership? Have you have any involvement in extracurricular activities? Do you have any leadership roles, right? Or you have been volunteered at any place in your university or somewhere else? Again, it's really important to understand you don't need to have it like a lot of certificates, right? So first thing come to our mind is, do we really have a lot of certificates or not? So not the case. So the important thing is if you even have been organizing an event, right, at any place, so try to understand it, the role as an organizer, that that definitely will help you to write it in your SOP and all these things. So make sure tailor your presentation in a way. So you should explain everything from GPA to your awards, to your honors, your academic accomplishments, and all these things. So the first thing which is important is the shortlisting the universities and the program selection. So if you go on the Google and look for the grad school hub or the grad schools, and there are many more websites which you can explore. Go over there, find the list of universities in US, in Europe, and other countries you are interested in. So once you figure it out, these are the universities, then you can look into the university rankings, and we have different websites for that: QS World University Rankings, Time Higher Education, US News and World Report. So the one thing which really important to understand is the ranking is not the everything. So sometimes we run behind the rankings. We think in a way, oh, this university is under 500 or 400. It's better to apply over there. So specifically for the PhD student, the important thing is the research area. So you have to go to your program specific website. You have to look to the faculty, the research they are doing, the funding opportunities, and the other factors you can consider over there. So as in, if you go to the grad school website, for example, if you're applying for Georgia State or maybe some other university, so make sure there is one requirement which is a general requirement, whether you need the GRE or TOEFL or IELTS or what. So make sure then you have to go to the program specific website. For example, if you're applying for computer science, for example, you're applying for psychology, for maybe you're applying for history or maybe chemistry. So make sure you go to the particular program specific website where they talk about their own program, right? So make sure to research about it very well, and then see the requirements for the program. Sometimes what happened in the general requirements, if you go to the grad school, any general website of the grad school, you will see you only need, you may need the TOEFL of this particular score. But if you go to the program specific website, that means of your program, you may find the requirement for the TOEFL or the GRE and all this may be of higher. Maybe they required more TOEFL score than the general websites. Then now you can connect with the current students over there, and the best platform is the LinkedIn. So if you go on LinkedIn, simply type in the particular name of the university, so you can come across the students who are already there. So you can follow them, you can look into their profiles, what they are working on, and you can connect with them easily, being not here. The next factor is the funding opportunities. I will be talking about in a little bit more detail that how you will evaluate whether which how you can get the scholarships or maybe the research assistantship or the teaching assistantships and all. The next is the aligning with the faculty expertise. So make sure when you're applying, I don't know exactly whether you're very clear about it, that you want to research in this particular field. It's good if you are clear about it. If not, then just go through all those professor's profile and look which actually fit or resonate with your interest. So what we are doing today is more of like a roadmap, as Haris Bhai mentioned, that we'll be talking about all the components, important requirements for the grad school. So one of the thing which is important is the CV, right? So make sure you should not go beyond 2 pages in writing the SOP, sorry, the CV. So make sure that you're writing very concisely. You are mentioning your academic background. You are mentioning the leadership qualities, and make sure that keep it very concise, very crisp. Don't go like too much wordy. It should be reflecting your academic achievement, your research experiences, and if you have done any internships. So we'll be having different webinars about it in deep. But as of now, make sure that you tailor it very well to the program specific you are applying for. So it may change according to your program. You have to look into the program specific websites and what is their exact requirements over there. Okay, so the one of the important component is the statement of purpose. So make sure if in your grad school, the most important document, the statement of purpose, it's like a game changer, that how you are writing the SOP is really important. So highlight your own journey. So if you read a lot of SOPs, you will come across that people start the hook statement by writing a quote or something. I have, I got interested, or I got motivated when I was in my high school, or my, in my senior secondary, something like that. So it is really important to understand this is your journey. So make sure you're highlighting how you get interest in it. It is not something you can make an SOP in a day or two. You have to work on it constantly. So, for example, when you're writing an SOP, make sure you develop your own ideas first. Don't use the AI tools or some other platforms to make your own ideas. Think in this way. Why you really want to apply for this program? How you are fit for this, right? How you can align with the research you are applying for, with the program you're applying for. Clearly outline your goals. So this is really important. So once you have your own ideas, once you write on a piece of a paper, or you typing, or whatever you are doing it, then make sure you can use the other, to make it clear, well organized, free of grammatical errors or clearly engaging style. So make sure you can use the AI tool, or maybe you can use the Grammarly, whatever you're comfortable with. But the most important thing is that this piece of paper is really important, and it's showing your own journey. So usually how it started, first you explain away why you are interested in this program on the first paragraph. Then you talk about, yeah, from where you have done your bachelor's or master's, and then you go beyond it, like talking about the research experiences and the research you are interested in, and then talking about the faculties, and then aligning the your research experiences with the research ongoing in the universities. So this is how you have to write the statement of purpose. So I would highly encourage you to go to the YouTube channel of SSGSA, and where you will find in the playlist, the playlist section, these two playlists: SSGSA 2024 and the SSGSA Training and Skills Development webinar series. They have bunch of videos over there talking specifically about the CV, SOP, how to shortlist the universities in deep. So I would suggest you to go and watch all these videos if you are interested in applying. Next in the list is the preparation for the standardized tests like GRE or TOEFL or IELTS. So again, when you apply and you go to the program specific websites, they clearly mention over there whether the GRE is recommended or like mandatory or like optional. So look into that, see whether your program required or not. Think in this way, whether I should give the GRE or not. Also, you need to look into the whether you have to give the TOEFL or the IELTS. So basic difference with the TOEFL, you have to, familiarize yourself with the test first. You have to look into the how it's structured, the TOEFL or the IELTS or the GRE. So once you look into that, then you can decide whether you want to give TOEFL or IELTS. So what is the basic difference between the TOEFL and the IELTS is, usually in the TOEFL, you have in the speaking section, you have to record your answers, right? And the IELTS, you have a human in front of you and you have to speak in front of him. So seeing which one makes you more comfortable, speaking in front of human or recording your voice notes. So Once you familiarize yourself with these standardized exams, GRE, TOEFL, or IELTS, you can create a study plan. You can create a study plan, how you want to prepare for it, and a lot of resources available on the internet. If you go on the GregMed or the Magoosh, or you can go on the Barron's, you will find a lot of resources over there. And I would also recommend you to, randomly typing on the YouTube, because YouTube has a lot of information now. So you can practice over there as well. So once you are familiarized, you create your study plan, you utilizing the prep resources, then there's a time you have to schedule and register for these exams. So make sure you are registering it in advance, because it takes some time. And then, in the meantime, you can practice and refine on your skills. There are like mock exams available on the YouTube itself, and you can go on the different websites. As I mentioned, the Magoosh or the GregMed, they have some free mock exams also. So you can give the exams over there and you can test yourself, right? And once you have your score, you can officially submit to the particular university. So in general, when you give this exam, it takes about 2 weeks to get your results, and then you have to send those scores to the particular university, which takes like 2 3 days. So this is all over like how you are deciding your timelines for this grad school journey. So very important is when you're applying for the grad school, you need the recommendation letters. So for the recommendation letters, I would advise that you can keep in a loop around 4 or 5 recommenders. So for example, if you decide to apply 7 universities or 8 universities, so it may not be easy for a professor to send all eight universities. So make sure you decide at least 4 or 5 recommenders, and then you can choose three recommended to send a particular university. Usually, the university required three recommendation for a grad school application. So choose the professor, see like with whom you have worked, so that you can have the recommendation of that particular officer, the your professor, and then you talk. He can talk or she can talk about your academic abilities, your research experiences, and your personal qualities, and read them out early, because it takes maybe 3 weeks or 4 weeks for them to get into to write the recommendation letter for you. And you need to provide your CV or maybe your transcript or all these things. And then definitely let them know and follow up, right, to tell them that your deadline is coming up and you have to submit the recommendation letter. So make sure that you are doing all this in advance, not to get late. So now the important aspect is the funding opportunities, right? So they're like different type of funding opportunities. One is research, the other is teaching assistantship, and some are like external scholarship. Here I want to emphasize on the funding in United States and the Europe. So in US, when you apply for a grad school, you're applying through a application portal where your application will be scrutinized by the bunch of the professors over there, and on that basis you get an offer letter. So the offer letter you're getting is from the university or your department specifically. So once you get the offer letter, you at that time you don't know exactly with whom you'll be working out. So once you are here in US, then you can go to different labs and do the lab rotations, and you can decide the lab then. So how it works, mostly you will be on TA for the first 2 semesters, and depending on your professor's assistantship, like if he has or if he or she has funding, then you can do the you can get the research assistantship. So this is basically, I would say, a safer in a way, because you're going to a school and the school is responsible, your department is responsible for the assistantship. So if you don't like if you don't like the lab you're working in, you can change and go to the other lab. So in this scenario, the department is responsible for giving you the assistantship. While in most of the cases in Europe, you have to apply for the external scholarship, and This is the DAD. Everybody should be familiar with this kind of scholarships, or there's a bunch of the scholarship over here. Swiss Government Excellence Scholarship, or the AFL Excellence Scholarship. So in Europe, usually what we do, you directly apply to a research position available there. So it's not you're applying for the grad school. You're applying for specifically the position available for the research. So now it's really important to reaching out to the professors when you're applying for your grad school. So if you're applying to United States, you I mean, you can apply, you can write an email to your professors, but what I have noticed, since I have also applied, I have write an email to them, but I have noticed one thing: they won't reply very frequently or very much, because they know that the process goes through the school. So first you have to fill out your application and everything. You have to submit, as we have mentioned, about your CV. You have to submit the SOP and all the other requirements, and then it goes through a process. Then you get the offer letter. But in the Europe, it's completely opposite. You have to have applied to the, and you have to basically email the professor. So you can research faculty members at your target university who research interests align with your own, and you can go through their website, review their publication. So when you're writing an email, don't write like anything. Make sure you'll be to the point. Make sure that you're writing how it is a mutual fit. How, what what skill set you have, what's your background, is it matching with the professor or not? Because uh, if you're applying in Europe, it is something that you have to have the mutual fit of each other. And you can request for a virtual meeting with them to know about whether they are willing to discuss the application, the research interest you have in it. Okay. So be patient and be persistent in your outreach, as professors may be busy, so they may not be applying. So you can do a follow-up email to them maybe in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So that's pretty much. And then, when you're applying, so here I have created an application timeline for from August to January. So it's up to you when you want to start this journey. You can start maybe in January, maybe as early as you want, but typically it takes like, 6 to 7 months. If you look over here, the first step is you're the researching the university. So make sure, as you can see, it's a yellow bar over here. So just you can compare that in your first month, you are basically researching the universities first. Once you research the university, you can start preparing for the GRE, TOEFL, or IELTS. So what is the good thing is you can make an Excel sheet where you can jot down all the universities you're applying, right in front of them, whether the GRE is required or not, or you are interested in it or not. Then whether you want to give the TOEFL, if you want to give the TOEFL or the IELTS, whatever you prefer, make sure to write the score, a minimum requirement of that particular score, right? And then you can shortlist the professor. Well, this point is not that important to shortlist a professor. As I mentioned that you're applying for the school, you're submitting a whole application, and this is what I'm talking about specific for the US. In the Europe, it's simply you have to email the professors or the positions available over there. And then in the month of around October, you can start drafting your CV, your statement of purpose. And these two documents are really important. I want to emphasize on it in a way that don't think it's not a last minute thing. So you have to prepare these well in advance. So keep writing, keep updating in it. So, and then you have to request the letter of recommendations. You can request the letter of recommendation around October or November. Then you start your application and finalize by November or December. You can submit your applications around in November or the December, because usually the deadlines for PhD programs is December 15th every year. And for the master's program, you can apply until January or February. So then your offer letter start coming around in the January itself. Okay, so This is also important to understand while you're applying for the the applications. You have to prepare these important documents. So the first one is the passport. So if you already have the passport, it's good. If you don't have the passport, then make sure you're applying around in August or September, because it takes some time. And when you're applying, when you're filling the application of grad school, they require the information, and there you have to mention the your name, your family's details, and your own details, and it should match with the passport. One thing I want to emphasize, because it's something like it happened to me. So even if you have the passport, make sure you have your name in the first name and the last name. So usually, if you're from India, sometimes we have our whole name or both names, like first name and the last name in itself, the first in itself in the given name, not we don't have the last name. So make sure check your passport. If it's so, then you can bifurcate your name, because if you're applying here for the visa, you may face a lot of problems. So make sure that if you have two names, it should be bifurcated as first and the last name rather than just in one. The next important document is the transcript. So what is the basic difference between the transcript, the academic transcript, and the mark sheets? So mark sheets is like you get it every semester. For example, usually in India we have 2 semesters, or like outside India they may have 3 semesters. So make sure that you have to apply for the transcript, because transcript reflect all your courses you have done in 2 years. If your program is of 2 years, if your program is of 3 years, then make sure this transcript should reflect everything on single page. And they won't be accepting the mark sheets if you have it. To apply for the passport or the transcript, you have to apply around August or September, early as soon as possible. Okay, and make sure you review all these documents thoroughly to check it should be no any spelling errors and all that stuff. I've already mentioned these somehow the common mistakes to avoid. So make sure there should be no late submissions. Failing to the submit application materials by the deadline set by the universities can severely impact your chances of admission. So make sure you have your own clear timeline. The good thing is you can make your, or you can set your own deadlines, and so that you can enforce yourself to complete that particular thing in the meantime. Very important is if you leave everything at the last minute, then there will be more errors or inconsistencies in your application material. So there may be a typos issues or formatting issues. So make sure to do everything priorly, so you do not have these kind of issues while submitting the application. Carefully proofread all your documents before submission. The next is insufficient research on the program. So make sure that, especially for the PhD students, if you're applying for any particular school, make sure you see the area you are interested in. What is your research focus? What is the faculty doing over there? What research facilities they have? Because even if you just apply over there and you don't have a clear idea, maybe you know the things, but you don't have those things over in that particular university. So make sure that it aligns, it resonate what you are looking for, right? And then next is the recommendation letter. So make sure you should not fail to provide the recommenders with sufficient time, information with strong and personalized letter of recommendation. So that is really important. And last is the lack of compelling narrative. So your application materials, particularly your SOP, should be in a way that you are telling the story. This is a story of yours. So it's not something you get the information on this OP from different sources. Make sure you're writing your own things. Make sure you are thinking on it. You constantly work on it. It's a piece of paper where you are mentioning your own story. You're basically reflecting what you are is as in as a person, as well as like what is your achievements and all these things. And that's pretty much. So stay connected with SSGSA through LinkedIn, Facebook, or the YouTube. um, I would like to have your questions if you have any thought. Thank you.